To preface, I'm a progressive, and I would like to have some discourse with you over the Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm just going to say I fully condemn Hamas, and my current position is that there should be a one-state solution where it's anti-apartheid. However, there should be the international community with the United Nations should be responsible for leading the peace process. And personally, I think the Hamas and the Israeli government are essentially two sides of the same coin.
You were doing so well.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm not good with public speaking.
No, I just mean the points. The speaking is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think with the recent conflict, of course, what Hamas did was terrible. However, I think it's very important to understand the context of why they did it. So they're very radical, and that radicalization has essentially formed from the Israeli government bullying the Gaza Strip for the past 50 years and obstructing their freedoms.
Okay. Let me just ask, so thank you for condemning the attacks. I wish we had every member of Congress that could do that. However, let's just make sure we have our stuff clear. You say the Israeli government and Hamas are the same side of a coin, right?
Maybe there's some differences, yes, but
okay, yeah. Well, the differences are pretty big. So let me just go through the last 2 weeks, and I want you to just at least acknowledge it or not acknowledge it. Hamas gave no warning before they slaughtered 1,300 women and children. Israel did multiple days of warnings and dropping leaflets before they dropped any bombs on civilian corridors. Is that moral equivalency?
Well, I think, of course, I think Hamas is much worse.
Okay, good. So they're not the same coin. Got it. So, because you said they're
similar coins, maybe the penny and the nickel.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to the next question. Let's go to the next kind of.
Well, okay.
Element.
So, I think that. So, as I said earlier, I think the international community should get more involved. A while ago, I read the book "Palestinian Peace, Not Apartheid" by President Jimmy Carter, and the book essentially boils down to three things. The Israel country and its borders should be respected. I agree. Palestinians and Jews should coexist peacefully, and they shouldn't be killed, which is the third thing.
Right.
I think.
So, okay, I got to interrupt.
Well, okay. Sorry.
No,
I'm so sorry.
All right, no, it's okay. So let me just add, I want to try to get this along to some sort of clarity, if not agreement. Who's a bigger impediment to peace, Israel or Hamas?
I think the biggest impediment is the reactionary politics and reactions between the two groups. Hamas had been radicalized by the Jews, or rather the Israel government, which had been radicalized by the history of Arabs killing Jews.
I got to cut you off, man. Wait, what? Like you said, Hamas is radicalized by the Israeli government.
Well,
they're radicalized by Islam, not by the Israeli government. Islam is what radicalized Hamas. Not everything goes back to the Jews, man, right?
Well, no. I'm sorry. So I think the conflict essentially boils down to its history. The Arabs killed a bunch of Jews in its history. The Jews killed a bunch of, through the Zionist movement, through colonialism, and during. Okay.
All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to ask one final question. Is if Hamas would lay down all of before this massacre, okay, would have laid down all of their weapons, what do you think would have happened? And if Israel laid down all of their weapons, what do you think would happen?
So I'll address the second part. If Israel lays down all its weapons, I think terrorist groups such as Hamas and the Palestinian Authority would use this opportunity to kill a bunch of Israelis.
I agree. So we have clarity on that. So, great. Before the massacre, because heightened tensions. If Hamas would have laid down their weapons and Gaza would have laid down their weapons, what do you think would have happened?
I think the Israel government would try to essentially do something similar, where they would try to push out all of the Palestinians. As
we would have
I do
peace,
not think they
is what
have
we would have.
freedom movement.
So we're not going to agree on this. Let me just make a couple points. Israel, time and time again, has sat down for peace. Abraham Accords, Oslo Accords, Camp David Accords, which was facilitated. At every corner, Israel has given up land, Sinai Peninsula, parts of the West Bank, parts of Judea and Samaria, in the pursuit of peace. And I just encourage you, and you've been intellectually honest, but I want you to think about this, and anyone who might agree with you, that these are not morally equivalent. You have one side that has a democratically elected government that allows pluralism in the Knesset, Arab, Judaism. In Gaza, they are one size fits all. Hamas took over power, was voted into power, and the stated doctrine of Hamas is no morally different than Nazism. It's not an exaggeration. It's not about land. It's not about winning hearts or souls. It's about killing Jews. And the issue is this. Well, more than the issue, is that Hamas now invited this conflict, okay? And this is where my sympathy kind of wanes down to little next to nothing, is that there was at least some form of an equilibrium. They were in Gaza, Israel is in Israel, and on a holy day in the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, they decided to go into kibbutzes, which I know that you denounce. But at that point, they're going to F around and find out, and Hamas should be obliterated for that action. Thank you very much.